Hello and welcome back to the Shaka VI2KC. You may notice that things have changed somewhat since the last video, and that's mainly because of this big beast here in the middle. I basically upgraded computers. This is the old laptop, the Acer Aspire. This is 8 years old. It's still working, but it's started to develop problems and it's quite slow. So this has done all the work for the last number of years, but I've replaced it with a desktop computer and this big 26-inch monitor. It's got 4 built-in speakers with surround sound in them, so it's very nice. I did have a second monitor connected to the laptop, which I've kept as part of the new setup. Most graphics cards today have 2 outputs. So basically you can connect the displays so that you can basically move items from one display to the other. This is very handy, particularly for a radio amateur. And I'll demonstrate why. I'll give you, this is just one example why. Here I'm in Ham Radio Deluxe, and this is the main screen showing the radio frequency and all of the various displays there, and listening to some nice digital mode action going on there. I also have Digital Master 780 launched. I did a short time ago work Papa Zulu 5 Romeo Alpha on 20 meters RTTY. That's the laptop going to sleep. That's okay. It's old. It's allowed to have a nap. Suriname, so it's coming up there as worked. But for instance, just as an example, you may want to keep this screen active. So I'm just going to drag that one over to here and maximize it. So I can keep an eye on the radio display here and keep an eye on the digital modes here. Another way that it's handy is, you know, say for instance, you're doing digital, but you also want to keep an eye on the cluster, or you want to do some Facebook, or you want to check your Logbook of the World account. You can bring your internet screen over onto your internet window over onto the second display and do it that way. It's nice to have it, and it just, especially if you're concentrating on Digi and you're trying to make a contact here, that you know, you can also keep an eye on things over here. I did another video about some features of Logger 32, which is the new logging program at this station. I'll just launch that briefly. Hopefully that will connect without much difficulty. Yes, it's done. That's great. Just going to connect to the cluster here. It's just one thing that I really like about this program, and it's a feature of other logging programs, and it's very handy if you have your radio and your computer interface like this. If you see something that you want to work and it comes up in the cluster window, you can basically click on the spot on the cluster window and it will automatically change your radio to the correct frequency and mode for that contact. So just for instance, this is just for an example's sake, there's a couple of 6 meter spots there. I'm not going to be able to work those. But say for instance I wanted to work Lima X-Ray 1 Hotel Delta on 18.138. Well, if I just click on him, watch the display, 18.138 changes straight away. The call sign appears in the logging window, and also once the logging program, once Logger 32 determines what entity you're working, it gives you a beam heading, and in this case it's 112 degrees. So while I'm having a listen for him, I can also be turning the beam. Now you can configure the software to turn your beam if you have a rotor that accepts such a connection. I don't mind turning mine manually. That's one of the features I really love. So there's Norman, Victor Kilo 7 Alpha Charlie in Tasmania. He's on 40 meters SSB. Let's see if we can hear him. I have to change antennas. Quite a lot of splatter there from someone who's not too far off frequency. I'm not sure whether we're going to hear him or not. But any one of those cluster spots, if you want to work them, or if you want to see if you can hear them, you just click on them and it goes to the desired frequency. So there's Chile on 10 CW. Now I know it's nearly 10 o'clock at night, but it's not out of the question that you would hear Chile on 10 metres at this hour. Okay, typically for the purposes of this video, it's not audible, but I think 10 metres has been kind of poor today compared to normal. One of the other things that I love about this program is that if you type a prefix, say ZL, Zulu Lima, for New Zealand, it automatically on your on your status, it shows you, on your status window, it shows you where you've worked in New Zealand. And I've worked New Zealand on 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, 30, 40 and 80 CW, but I've only worked it on SSB on 20 metres and 17 metres, and only on digital modes on 12. So there's a whole lot of SSB and RTTY slots that I need there. In addition to that, if you actually click that window, it brings up all of the QSOs you've ever had with that entity, and it also shows in red which ones you've had confirmed. Most of my confirmations are via Logbook of the World. I'm really loving this program so far, Logger32. Initially I was unsure about it because I didn't know whether, well, I didn't know how to use it, which is the biggest thing. Once you get to know how to use it, it's a lot easier. There's Alpha 35 X-ray Tonga 21280, beam heading 340 degrees, turn the beam. I don't think I'm going to hear him on 15 metres at this hour, but you know what, I did hear something there. Maybe that was somebody calling him, or somebody else on his frequency. No, don't think I'm going to hear that. Anyway, I'm going to mess around here for a while. As I say, it's lovely to have a very large display in front of you, and I've kept the resolution at, it's not a very, very high resolution, so that all of the text is still quite large so that I can read it. You know, the old eyesight's not as good as it used to be and all that. But I certainly recommend Logger32 if you're thinking about a logging program, a comprehensive logging program that has such features as the cluster. And definitely it needs the worked and confirmed status. Any serious DXer needs to have this. You know, in Logic 8, it's the progress window. It shows you with a DX entity where you've worked it, and where you've confirmed it and where you haven't got it. So for instance, Fox Whiskey, which is Wallace and Futuna, I know for a fact I only have that on one band slot, and that's 20 metres SSB. All I did was typed in Fox Whiskey. I didn't even complete a call sign. Immediately it recognises that it's Fox Whiskey, and it gives you the beam heading, and it shows you 20 metres SSB. The only contact I have, I think it's Fox Whiskey 5 Juliet Juliet. Yep, 11th of November 2013, brand new DXCC at that stage. And Logger32 is entirely free. Highly recommended. And this is Echo India 2 Kilo Charlie signing. 7-3.